Hey, good morning, C3. I had heard from a few of you that even though we all have copies of We're Not From Here, that me reading a chapter aloud as either you listen to it or as you read along with me is really helpful as we go through this book. I have posted some questions to Class Dojo. I want to go over them real quick. Kind of a strategy if you know what the questions are, it gives you something to think about before we even start this chapter. So in chapter 6, in this chapter we learn that the Zuri show emotion through emitting smells. For example, anger smells like gasoline. Fear gives off a sour milk odor. Please pick 3 of your own emotions and tell me how they might smell. Just a little text-to-self connection there. That one obviously is not going to be found in the book, but we're just kind of exploring one of the themes in this book, which is about how different cultures and different people show emotions and deal with things. Question number 2. On page 50, Lan lays down on his back and takes deep breaths to calm down. To practice your visualization, please pretend you are Lan. Take off your shoes. Visualize laying down in red grass. Close your eyes and picture yourself laying down and looking up the red sky of planet Chum. What else might Lan be seeing or hearing? Practice making that movie in your mind. This is one of the essential aspects of reading, as just these aren't words. We want to try to kind of embody or walk a mile in the character's shoes. So one of the things we do is kind of visualize, right? We can explore, we can extend these situations to pretend we're Lan and basically kind of infer and visualize and create more to our story by adding to it and pretending we're the main character. And question number 3, draw me a picture of the Crick Food Euro. We will get to that in this chapter. It's pretty amusing. So here we go with a giant home for marshmallows, chapter 6. We wound up sitting in the shuttle until the middle of the night. Just gonna kind of go back a little bit. Remember, they had been brought down to Chum and kind of used as a test family, but a lot of the Zuri are really not comfortable with that. They don't want the humans there. So in the last chapter, which I read a couple of weeks ago, so just to kind of get us all caught back up, is about how they were on the shuttle coming down to Chum. There was supposed to be some sort of celebration or ceremony. Ayla was gonna sing, and then all of a sudden, all these Zuri protesters rushed the spaceport and kind of attacked the ship. So we're back to them just moments after that whole debacle. We wound up sitting in the shuttle until the middle of the night. Early on, we got hungry, so Dad opened a container of chow. I'd been hoping that once we got to Chum, I'd never have to eat it again. By getting attacked by venom-spitting aliens, no sorry, we were the aliens, according to Dad, had left me too hungry to pass it up. I forced down a slice of barfing while Ayla and Mom ate some choking. Dad had the heaving, which he always picked, even though it was the worst flavor by a long shot. I'm pretty sure he ate it out of guilt for having helped create the stuff. After a while, we all had to go to the bathroom, but the Zuri ship didn't have one. And when we asked the soldiers if there was one in the hangar, they just stared at us. In a weird way, I was grateful for that distraction until my bladder filled up. My mind wouldn't stop racing with the same questions over and over. How can we live on a planet where swarms of people spit venom at us just for being here? The worse I had to pee, the harder it was to focus on being scared out of my mind. Eventually, Ayla and I tried to take our minds off our bladders by watching the Birdlies episodes we brought along. After we went through all the ones on our screens, I tried to download more from the library up on the transport, but I couldn't make a data connection. The ship's in orbit on the far side of the planet, Dad explained. We can't get a signal until it comes around again. Oh, how long will that take? He checked his watch. I don't know, hour maybe? Just try to get some sleep, Mom said. Isn't this gravity making you tired? Tired wasn't quite the right word. It was like my flesh was drooping off my skeleton. I lay down on the floor of the shuttle, but it was hard and uncomfortable, and I worried that if I fell asleep, I'd wet my pants. Finally, Leanie came back for us. I will be your guide until you return to the human ship, she told us. The Immigration Division has found you temporary housing, where you may stay until you leave our planet. Mom didn't bother explaining again that we couldn't leave because we had nowhere else to go. Leanie and 4 of the armed guards got into the shuttle with us, and we flew out of the hangar and across the city. Mom sat in the front row with Leanie. Ayla and I were behind them. Dad got stuck in back with the guards. The sour milk smell had returned when Leanie did. It was clearly coming from her. I have noticed, Mom said, trying to pick her words very carefully, that there is a smell. Is it caused by emotion? I saw the tip of Leanie's head rear back when she heard the translation. It is not polite to point out another smell when they are attempting to control it. Beck cannot, she said. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mom said quickly. I did not mean to offend you. I am making a great effort to control my fear smell. It is difficult in your presence. On top of the sour milk smell of fear coming from Leanie, I caught a little whiff of gasoline anger. That seemed to be coming from the soldiers behind me. They must not have liked the way Mom was questioning Leanie. Oh, please do not be afraid of us, Mom told Leanie in a gentle voice. We are peaceful. We would never do anything to hurt you. Thank you for saying that, she replied. Nobody spoke for the rest of the trip. By the time we got to where we were going, both the fear and the anger smells had faded away. We touched down in a little subdivision of 6 dozen identical honeycomb-shaped houses, all arranged in a 6-sided ring around a wide lawn. The shuttle landed on the lawn's edge, and then Leanie led us through the moonlight, which was much brighter than on Earth, because Choom has 3 moons. And she led us to the nearest house. Like all the others in the ring, it was dark, empty-looking, a single story tall, although that one story was at least as high as a 2-story building would have been back on Earth. These houses were built for the Ororo, so their features are quite large, Leanie said. She wasn't kidding. The front door was wide enough to drive a truck through, or a 6-foot-tall marshmallow, which I guess was the point. We stepped inside onto a spongy floor that reminded me of a kiddie playgrounds back on Earth. There were 3 bedrooms connected by large doors to the big main room, which had what looked like a giant couch at one end and an equally giant, but very low, table in the middle, surrounded by chairs as wide as park benches. At the back end of the main room was a wall of machinery and countertops that looked like a kitchen. The room we were all desperate to find was in the far right corner. The Ororo make body garbage in the same way humans do, Leanie said, pointing to the bathroom door. You may put yours in the container inside that room. First, Isla yelled as she ran to it, slamming the door behind her. I lined up to go next. Hurry, Isla. Do the Zuri not make body garbage? Dad asked Leanie. Our waste products leave our bodies as sweat, she told him. Biologically, this is much more efficient. Also much grosser, as I thought, as I heard Isla yell from the other side of the door. Oh my gosh, this thing is enormous! A moment later, there was a noise from the bathroom, like a rocket engine. Everything okay in there? Mom called out. Isla emerged, shaking her head. Don't sit on it when you flush, she said. It'll kill you. She was right. The toilet was practically hot tub sized, and just low enough for a human to perch on its edge. When I pressed the flush button, the whole thing rose up 2 feet, shrank to 1/3 of its normal size, which is about 5 times too wide for a human to sit on, and created a noisy suction so strong that I could feel the air getting sucked into the bowl from halfway across the room. I managed to use it without dying. After Mom and Dad took their turns, Leanie said goodbye to us. I will return in the morning, and we can discuss when you will be leaving, she said hopefully. After Leanie left, we picked bedrooms. They were all huge, each one several times the size of our whole living compartment. Mine had a gigantic, but very low bed, and several sets of drawers along the wall, although I didn't see anything to put in them except maybe my spare set of clothes and my screen. I lay down on the bed to test it. The mattress was made of either very thick plastic or very soft liquid. It rippled out and then reshaped itself around me in a way that was so weird and unsettling. I wondered for a minute if I should just fall asleep on the floor instead. But once the mattress finished adapting to my body, I felt like it was giving me a warm hug. It was so comfortable that I fell asleep without even lifting my head. When I woke up, the sunlight was streaming through the windows. Still groggy, I shut my eyes against the light, but then a thought jolted them open again. I'm on another planet, and my bed is hugging me. A second thought forced me up and out of this ridiculously cozy mattress. I could go outside. Other than the horrifying few seconds on the tarmac of the spaceport and the short walk from the darkness from the shuttle to our front door, I hadn't been outside since we left Earth. I went to the living room window. Nobody else was up yet. I looked out the front. The red lawn was empty. I tiptoed to the door and opened it. It was quiet and peaceful in our subdivision, with a forest-like smell that was really pleasant. The sun was just above the houses on the far side of the ring, and it felt warm on my face. I took a step outside, and a pair of pronged weapons came out of nowhere to block my path. The two soldiers had been standing guard against the wall on either side of the front door. I gasped in fear as one of them whined at me, "Ree-hee-hee." I jumped back inside and slammed the door. Then I grabbed my translator and tried again. This time I stood in the doorway and tried to be more polite. "Good morning, sirs," I said through my translator, hoping there were sirs and not madams or maybe some other option I didn't even know about. "Ree-hee-hee." "Where are you going?" the soldier was asking me. I got a whiff of sour milk fear smell from one of them, or maybe both. "I just want to breathe the air and walk on the grass. Is that okay?" They looked at each other. "Yes, but do not touch the fence." I stepped outside and looked around. "Where is the fence, sir?" Instead of answering, the soldiers flew straight up into the air, holding his weapon extended above him. 30 yards up, the tip of the prong hit the fence, and a blue dome of electricity crackled to life around the perimeter of the subdivision. "Ah, thank you, sir," I said with a big friendly smile while he flitted back to the ground. He didn't answer me. I looked around some more. There was no sign of life in the dozen or so houses outside of our own. Sorry, lost my spot. And no other structures except for a pill-shaped beige pod about the size of a small car parked by the side of our house. I figured the pod belonged to the guards. Excuse me, but can I ask, does anyone live in the other houses?" "No," one of the soldiers replied. "Did anyone ever live there?" He didn't answer. I walked away from the house towards the middle of the lawn. My bare feet on the red grass felt so good that it almost made me cry. The air smelled delicious, and I sucked in big lungfuls of it. I knelt down and said a prayer of thanks for the sweet-smelling air, the warm sun, and the quiet, peaceful lawn. For a long time I'd wondered if I'd ever get to enjoy things like that again. Then I thought about the swarm of Zuri back at the spaceport. My heart started to race. I lay down on the grass, stretched out on my back with my knees bent, taking deep breaths to calm down as I stared up at the green sky. So again, this was our first question for this chapter. So again, kind of, you want to put yourself on Lan's place, kind of think, what is he thinking? What else is he hearing? What else is he smelling? Try to kind of visualize what's going through a character's mind and what their actions and deeds and thoughts tell you about them. It helps us really better comprehend and better understand the book and our characters. How great would this place be if the people here didn't spit venom at us, I thought. And those houses were full of humans? And what if Naya lived next door? I swore to myself that I was going to make all of that happen. I was going to be the best, friendliest, most awesome human being I could ever be. I was going to change all their minds about us. Ruff, ruff, I thought. There was a crackling thunderclap and the electric fence lit up. I sat up, my heart racing again. A pill-shaped beige pod had crossed the fence above the house on the far side of the subdivision. It was flying straight at me. By the time it landed on the lawn in front of our house, I was back inside, the door shut. Mom and Dad were just coming out of the bedrooms looking half asleep. The noise from the fence must have woken them up. Dad went to the window. "I think it's Leanie," he said. It was. She was carrying 2 large containers. "I thought you would be interested to try the foods of our different species," she told us. Isla's bedroom doors flew open. "Did I hear the word food? Did somebody say food?" Leanie put 4 glasses on the table and poured thick, gray liquid into each one of us to drink. "This is Zuri food." It smelled like dirty gym socks, and it tasted even worse. Are there other flavors?" Mom asked, trying to be polite. "No," said Leanie. "We have never understood why food should come in more than one flavor. Everyone agrees it is not efficient." Next up was crick food. It was also disgusting, but in a completely different way. It wouldn't stop wriggling. Question number 3 is coming up. When the Zuri first came to the planet Choom, Leanie explained, the crick who lived here ate small animals, which they consumed while they were still alive. Remember the crick are the little green werewolf-looking people? We set down a rectangular container of food, and it rattled around on the table like a jumping bean. Mom gasped, "There's a live animal in there?" "No, we found the crick's eating habits barbaric, so we helped them genetically engineer the Euro plant to move in ways that reminded them of their former prey." Leanie opened the container, took out some Euro, and put it on a plate. It looked like a medium-sized cucumber, but with a couple of dozen wriggling tentacles sprouting out from all sides. "That's a vegetable?" Isla's face was pale. Does it die when you cut into it?" Dad asked. "Technically speaking," Leanie said, "it is already dead. She cut it into 4 pieces with a knife, and they all kept flopping around just as frantically as before. I think we would prefer not to eat that, Mom said politely. A wise choice, said Leanie. When eaten, it does not stop moving, even in the stomach, for some time. Is that everything? I asked. No, said Leanie, reaching into her shopping bag for more containers. There is also Ororo food, and it comes in frankly ridiculous number of flavors. But I have brought only 5 most common. I doubt you will enjoy them. After striking out with the Zuri and Crick samples, we didn't have much hope left. But the Ororo stuff was incredible. Each type was brightly colored, perfectly square block that had all its own specific flavors and textures. The flavors were all over the place, savory, sweet, bitter, and a couple I didn't even have words for. And so were their textures. Some were crisp, some were chewy, and there was a purple one that melted almost instantly in my mouth. All 5 of them tasted amazing. Between the 4 of us, we ate every last bite in just a couple of minutes. That was phenomenal, Lila said when it was gone. It is curious that you preferred Ororo food, said Leanie. It is so much less efficient than the others. Leanie, we are so very grateful that you brought us to us, Mom said with a big smile. It is so kind of you. The rest of us took the hint, thanking Leanie with gushing words and big goofy grins. I worried we were laying it on a little too thick, but Leanie seemed to appreciate it. I am glad you enjoyed the food. Have you decided yet when you will leave our planet? Mom did not let her smile slip. Why do you wish for us to leave? Everyone agrees it is best for you and your safety if you do not stay on Choom. Humanity has a history of violence that caused great emotions amongst our people. You have spent some time with us now. Do we seem like violent people to you? You do not, Leanie admitted. Even so, you are the cause of much disagreement. Everyone agrees it would be better if you do not stay. We are very peaceful, Mom promised. There is nothing to fear from us, and we would very much like to stay here. My husband and I are eager to take jobs and contribute to Choom society. Our children want to attend school. Before we arrived, the unified government had promised us the chance to do these things. A hint of sour milk smell drifted from Leanie's side of the table. This is true, she admitted. But after yesterday's disturbance, everyone agrees it is no longer wise. The executive division has ruled that you may not leave this subdivision except to return to the spaceport and fly back to the human ship. May I ask who made that ruling? Mom said in her politest voice. Everyone agrees that it is the best. I understand that, but someone must have issued the order. Who decided we cannot leave this house? Leanie rubbed her wings together awkwardly. The chief servant of the executive division. And may we meet with this chief servant? I can request a video conference with him. Oh, we would prefer to meet in person. Leanie rubbed her wings together again like it was some kind of nervous tick. I do not see how this is possible. The executive division is on the other side of the city. You are not allowed to travel there. Will the chief servant travel to us? Leanie stared at Mom like she didn't understand the question. Mom smiled even bigger than before. On the human planet, she told Leanie, we have a custom. It is much honored and of great importance. It is called a dinner party. We humbly ask the chief servant to come here and join us in observing it. We also welcome any other Zuri who wish to attend, along with representatives of Choom's other species. We would very much like to meet them all. And what would this purpose of this dinner party custom be? Leanie asked. Well, to introduce ourselves and to show the chief servant that the people of Choom have nothing to fear from humans. More wing rubbing. I will inform the executive division of your request, said Leanie. A few minutes later, the four stood on the lawn, watching Leanie's pod fly away. Let's all pray this chief servant says yes, Mom said. If we have a dinner party, I piped up, can we ask the Ororo to bring food? No way, Dad said. We're serving chow. Dad! Kidding, guys, jeez. If they say yes, Mom told me, I will personally get on my knees and beg them to bring more of the Ororo food. Dad scowled. Chow kept a lot of people alive. Mom put her arm around him. I know, honey, and we're very grateful, but we are not serving that to guests. It comes up in chapter 7, but I would like us, as we read through this, and I try to catch up, because I know of you a little are farther ahead of me, continue to notice how big of a role food has in this book. I think one of the questions I asked in 7 and 8 is, I think the author does that specifically because food is so important to people's cultures. Be kind of noticing when an author continues to bring the same things forward over and over in a book. they want us to notice something, right? They're leaving us some clues so that we can kind of grapple with that bigger meaning, with those ideas of theme to discuss. Anyway, next up is chapter 7. I'm going to upload this one, and I'll see you soon. Bye.